Do I always do it? No, sometimes I hit dismiss. I'll be honest. That's my accountability. But I also remember that, I also try and remind myself of how much better I feel when I take the 5 minutes to drop in, because it's really 5 minutes in my day. I got time. I got time to scroll for 5 minutes. I got time to drop in and do some self-care for myself. That's the last thing that I wanted to talk about, was self-care. It's coming up a lot this week for a lot of people, for myself, for the collective. Self-care. Self-care is an act of love. Self-care is an attitude that is essential to thriving. It is essential to being in a good mind space. Self-care is essential to be able to take care of the people that you love in the way that you want to take care of them. Take care of yourself the way that you take care of other people, the way that you pour yourself out and love on other people. Do that for yourself too. Receive that from yourself. I am totally on a soapbox right now because it is so fucking important. And I think we so easily dismiss that because we have been taught through the patriarchy, through conditioning, especially as women, but as humans, that our self-care is not important because you need to go out and be productive and prove your worth. It's a bunch of bullshit, okay? A bunch of bullshit. Anyways, what can you do? What can you do? Self-care. You can sit down and breathe. I realized the other day I was kind of getting hard on myself because it's like, oh, I don't really do a lot of self-care, but I really actually do. It's just so built in now that I don't even recognize it. And there are some things that I was doing that I didn't even recognize as self-care. I realized that, my gratitude journaling is self-care. Anytime that I take a moment to flip my script, change my thought pattern and be like, no, I really love you and I think this is really good for you. That's a little bit of self-care. It can show up in all kinds of different ways for all kinds of people, but really it is the intentional act of giving yourself love and attention and nourishment that you deserve and that you are worthy of. And you cannot receive nourishment and attention and love and care from your external world fully if you cannot receive it from yourself fully. This is a huge lesson that I've learned. And in learning how to receive that kind of love, care, and attention from yourself, you actually are able to receive from other people on a deeper level. And you're able to give from a deeper space too. So self-care is so important. So important. And I just had a couple of notes because I wanted to make sure that I didn't go completely off on a tangent. So I'm gonna step off my soapbox now. But yeah, try and recognize where some of that conditioning has been put into place where maybe you're not, you need to put somebody else first before you put yourself first. And be honest, is that really how... do I want to subscribe to that? Do I want to continue to tell myself that story? Do I want to continue to tell myself the story that I don't have time to take care of myself? Because again, bullshit excuse, not buying it. And you shouldn't buy it from yourself either. Receive your own love. Receive your own love. I don't know how many magnificent, loving women who pour out their love into this world have a hard time pouring and receiving that love into themselves. And that is such a disservice to yourself. It's a disservice to yourself. It's a disservice to your soul. It's a disservice to your purpose. And, learning how to self-care, learning, how to release that conditioning around what is permitting you from giving yourself permission to self-care, and receive your own love, is really, I think those are important points to share about self-care. And the last thing I really wanted to say about that was the fact that, when you're doing these self-care things, you're nourishing yourself so that you can go out and serve others, because that's what we're meant to do. And when you have yourself properly nourished and properly, properly self-cared for, then that sets a precedent for other people on how you want to be treated, right? Because if you have a high level of self-care, people are going to see that, and people are going to treat you in that way. If you don't treat yourself very well, other people are going to see that and be like, well, she don't treat herself very well, so I can treat her like shit too. Just saying. And, a lot of this comes from personal experience. A lot of this comes from my own life lessons on not valuing my worth and not always seeking external validation. And, it's not, don't be there. Let's not be there. Let's not be there. Let's take the time for breathwork bites and meditation minutes and self-care, because those are the things that are going to make the difference in your life. So yeah, I'll step off my soapbox now. Thanks for listening. But it's important. And it's, again, like, as I share these things with you, these are also reminders to me that self-care is important. I started to do along with this like reset and nourish thing that I'm doing, I started doing a massage, a full body massage. And that actually helps to get the lymph nodes flowing, and it helps just the flow of everything. And so I'm like, well, that's probably good. And I'm detoxing some shit, and I'm probably detoxing some energetic shit. So I'm going to do this massage. And the first night I did it, I cried, you guys. I cried when I did my self massage, because I moved something. I don't know what it was, but I cried, and I let myself cry. And I appreciated that moment of self-care, because in that moment of self-care, I was able to find some healing. Healing for what? I'm not sure. Maybe it was just healing around the self-care and feeling guilty about taking really, really good care of myself. And not feeling selfish about it or feeling like it's wrong. And then I was really looking forward to my massage last night. And it's just, I just take some coconut oil again. Like, I made it such a big deal. And I was like, it's going to take too long. No, it's not. It took me like 5 freaking minutes, right? And it's so worth it. And I looked forward to it last night. I look forward to it again tonight, because it's a way too for me to kind of drop in and I can get that breath going. And then I always massage up towards the heart. And I do my legs and the whole entire body, and I feel my body, and I breathe. So as I'm massaging and getting this flow going, I can allow my body to release. I rub my face, and it actually feels so good. And I was denying myself that. There was resistance. I should have started it like 5 days ago. I've only been doing it for like 2. But when you can get past that resistance and know that resistance is just your ego or whatever trying to keep you safe or keep you comfortable, like knowing that and having that awareness allows you to maybe push through it and be like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to try it and whatever. So yeah, it's my little self-care soapbox talk. But I love you guys. And so I share this stuff because I want you to experience, life. I want you to feel human. I want you to feel, because it's an amazing thing. Yeah, actually, Amanda, I just ordered, actually I didn't order it. It's my reward after my first week of weaning off of things. My rewards, are a new dry brush, because I want to start doing that too, because that's really good to help with the detoxification. And then I also found I've been oil pulling too. And so what that is just, I've been using coconut oil, melted coconut oil, a very small amount. And then I swish it around in my mouth for as long as I can. I've only made it to about 5 minutes so far, but they say like 20 to 30 minutes. It's an Ayurvedic method. Again, dry brushing and the oil massage, also Ayurvedic methods of self-care, really simple, and really great. But yes, I have a dry brush in my Amazon cart as my reward for this first week. So I'm getting one too. And so I highly encourage you to get one, and then we can talk about, it makes me gag. Honestly, like after about 5 minutes, it starts to get me going a little bit. But I noticed, like, I've been doing that for like 3 or 4 days now, and I've noticed like a difference, and the difference, like, just in like, it actually kind of like wakes me up, and I can almost like, I know this sounds really kind of strange, but I can almost like feel the detox, feel the grossness, feel like the icky's leaving. I sense, feel, whatever. Anyways, so yeah, feel free to explore some of those things too. And if any of those things that I mentioned are things that interest you and you want like more information or you want to chit chat about it, please let me know. But yeah, it is supposed to be so good for you. So, keep trying. And if not, find another method. Oh, and I actually found on Amazon I typed in oil pulling, and I found quite a few different, pre-liquidy types of, it's like mouthwash only with oil pulling. So I'm going to try one of those too. So those are the 2 things in my cart, that I'm going to reward myself for doing my self-care this week. And in rewarding myself with things like a dry brush or an oil pulling, I'm promoting my self-care habits instead of rewarding myself with a cup of coffee or rewarding myself with a piece of cheesecake. I'm going to reward myself with something that fuels these self-care habits that I'm trying to promote. And I think that's really important too when we're trying to increase our awareness and increase, or like, just like create these habits for ourselves, is like when we're rewarding ourselves, trying to reward ourselves in a way that promotes these habits that we're trying to build, as opposed to rewarding ourselves in a way that we could potentially feel guilty or be straying from the intentions that we have. So yeah, that just came out. Good point. So yeah, I'll be back weekly in December to share some breath work, to share some really simple meditation techniques, and to just share, what's been coming up, and hopefully, it's something that is needing to be passed along, right? We never, ever know when we share how that's going to affect the vibration, who is going to help. I mean, you just don't know. And so I get scared a lot of times about sharing. And that's not fair. I'm like, nobody wants to hear this. Everybody already knows this. But again, that is my own ego. That's my own shit that I'm working through. So instead of shying away, you just show up, right? You just got to show up. So if there is something that you've been shying away from showing up for, even if that is yourself, just do it. Okay? I'll be back weekly to share and have fun.